Okay, well, by show of hands, who here has been fired? All right. Now, I don't mean laid off with a bunch of other people. I mean they specifically didn't want you. Anybody? Okay. Okay. Well, I work for a very successful software company, and this topic came up in a meeting the other day. A lot of successful people sitting around the room. Vice presidents, a senior vice president, and nobody was saying anything. It was really weird. So I spoke up. I have. Can anyone say career-limiting move? Well, that's the thing, is getting fired hasn't been a career-limiting move for me, and I don't think it should be for you. And that's what I'm here to talk about today. So to illustrate, I'm actually going to share a little bit of my personal history, and this is some of my personal history that I don't usually share that often, right? I'm going to tell you about the first time I was fired. That's how I'm going to start. Now, I did say the first time I was fired, implying that it's happened more than once. We'll get there, okay? So let's rewind to when I was 20 years old, and I was an exchange student in Japan. Huge adventure, right? It was. It was really cool. Everything was new and interesting and expensive. And I mean really expensive. And I was broke. So I definitely needed to get a job. Now, it turns out that by accident of birth, I had one marketable skill. One. I spoke English. So I went out and I found a job doing something that I loved. I was writing in English. And the best part about this job, it paid like 80 bucks an hour, right? So I'm 20, I'm in Japan, I'm making huge money. Jackpot, right? Okay. So things are going great. My boss says to me one day, hey, could you refer another exchange student? Maybe a woman this time. That's weird. But hey, it's Japan, right? So I bring my friend Margie in for an interview. She gets the job. Perfect. Now, this is where the story turns. And if you don't know what this is a mayonnaise and corn pizza. If ever there was a harbinger of doom, it is the mayonnaise and corn pizza. Okay, so 2 weeks later, my boss sits me down over a mayonnaise and corn pizza, and he fires me. He says, we only need one writer, and Margie's a woman. So yes, I was fired from my dream job because I'm a man. Now I was crushed. Now to cement my claims of manliness here, I should point out that I cried a lot. And then I spent like $100 calling my dad halfway around the world from one of these things, a payphone in a train station. Good times. Now, the next time I got fired, it wasn't quite as bad. I was a freshly minted college graduate with a great liberal arts degree and a winning smile, yeah, and almost zero job prospects as it turned out. Fun, right? Wasn't that fun? So I kind of had to take what I could get. And at that point, it was at the mall. Mrs. Fields Cookies. Yeah, that's where I worked. Now, the obvious upside, free cookies, right? The downside being that it was at the mall, it paid nothing, and I hated it. So I became pretty obviously bitter and sarcastic very quickly. And then I counted the safe wrong 3 times. 3 times. I was a penny over, I was a penny under, and then I was 2 pennies over. And the good people at Mrs. Fields Cookies, they fired me. Now, the next time I got fired, and don't worry, this is the last time, the job just wasn't quite working. And so my boss sat me down, and he walked me through the very real problems that in hindsight were definitely my fault. And he asked me, do you want to make this work? So what do you think I did? Yeah, I lied my ass off. That's what I did. Yes, I love this job. Yes, I want to make this work. Yes, we can fix everything. And in about 6 weeks, I had a much better job at a completely different company. So all this tragedy has actually worked out okay, as you might have guessed. In Japan, I ended up working for this woman over here for like a 90% pay cut. I made no money at a coffee shop, but my Japanese got great, and I met a lot of really nice people. Now, getting fired from Mrs. Fields Cookies, that actually led me to the job where I taught myself how to code business apps, right? And it turns out that business apps have become a lot more valuable than chocolate chip cookies over the years. So that worked out really well. And that third time, that actually taught me something really valuable as well. That third time taught me that when you're the boss and you know it's time to fire somebody, meaning you know it's time to fire somebody, just fire them. Just get it over with, right? You're not doing anybody any favors by stretching that out. So, as you go throughout your career, I don't want to say that getting fired is not going to set you back from time to time. It will. Getting fired sucks, believe me. I know, right? But getting fired is often a gateway to getting something better, something that is more what you need, right? So, that's my story. Thank you very much for letting me share it, and thanks to everybody who ever fired me.